Welcome to Fairy Garden Discoveries. Every garden has two stories. There is the story you can see: the leaves, the flowers, the sunshine, and the soil. And then there is the story you can't see: the quiet work happening underneath it all. This is the story of a fairy named Mella, who learned that growing takes more than encouragement. It takes patience, balance, and trust. Mella had been thinking about this day for a very long time. She woke early, before the sun was fully awake, and fluttered through the garden with careful purpose. She touched the soil with her fingertips, testing it, pressing gently, nodding to herself when it felt soft and welcoming. "This spot is just right," she said. She poured a small pile of seeds into her palm and examined them closely. Some were round, some were long. All of them looked very quiet. "These are going to be amazing," Mella declared. She knelt down and planted each seed one by one, tucking them into the earth as gently as if she were tucking them into bed. She patted the soil smooth, brushed dirt from her knees, and stood back proudly. Seeds planted. Now all that was left was growing. Mella leaned down until her face was just above the soil. "All right, seeds," she said cheerfully. "This is your moment." She clapped her hands. "You can do it. Grow strong, grow tall, grow fast." She sang a growing song. Then she sang it again, louder. Then she whispered encouragement, just in case the seeds preferred quiet. When nothing happened, she shouted again. "Hello down there," she added helpfully. The soil remained completely still. Mella straightened up. "Well," she said, "sometimes seeds need motivation." Mella checked the soil. Then she checked it again. She leaned in close, squinting, as if growth might suddenly appear if she stared hard enough. She poked the dirt lightly, then pulled her finger back quickly. "Sorry," she said. "Just checking." She waited. She counted slowly. Still nothing. Mella crossed her arms and sighed. "I planted you perfectly," she said. "You should be doing something by now." The soil did not respond. Mella took a deep breath. If quiet encouragement hadn't worked, she knew exactly what to try next. "Okay, seeds," she announced to the entire garden. "This is your big moment." She waved her arms. She stomped one foot. She sang and shouted and clapped all at once. "Grow! Grow! Grow!" A butterfly fluttered away in a hurry. A ladybug clamped its legs over its ears. One flower leaned dramatically to the side. The soil stayed the same. Mella stared at it. "That usually works," she muttered. Mella was about to try again when she noticed something odd. The soil wiggled. Not a lot, just enough to notice. She froze. "Hello?" she said cautiously. The soil wiggled again. Then, pop. A worm popped up, blinking in the sunlight and frowning deeply. "Could you keep it down?" the worm said. "We're building." Mella gasped. "Building?" she echoed. The worm pointed underground. "Roots," it said. "Support systems, water paths, very important things." Another voice chimed in from below, "And we're trying to focus." Mella knelt down and peered into the soil. She saw tiny beetles hustling back and forth. Root tips stretching carefully through the dirt. Water soaking gently into every tiny space. It was busy, organized, focused, and very, very quiet. "Oh," Mella whispered. "But I don't see anything growing," Mella said, looking carefully at the soil. The worm sighed kindly and tapped the ground with the tip of its tail. "That's because you're watching the wrong direction," it said. "The wrong direction?" Mella asked. "Plants don't start by reaching for the sky," the worm explained. "They start by reaching down." A beetle paused its work and nodded. "Roots first," it said. "Roots find water. Roots hold the plant steady. Roots feed everything else." Mella hovered closer to the ground, imagining tiny roots stretching and twisting beneath the soil. "So, the seeds are growing," she said slowly, "just not where I can see them yet." "Exactly," said the worm. "Growing begins in places most people forget to look." Mella folded her hands behind her back. "Are the seeds really okay?" she asked, her voice softer now. "Oh yes," said the worm. "They're soaking up water, waking up, making plans." "Plans?" Mella repeated. The beetle smiled. "Plants don't rush. They prepare." Beneath the soil, roots stretched gently, feeling their way through the earth. Water slid slowly from grain to grain of dirt, carrying nutrients along with it. Mella watched the ground. It looked exactly the same as before. But now she understood something important. Just because work is quiet doesn't mean it isn't important. Mella straightened up and took a deep breath. She lowered her voice. She stopped poking the soil. She stopped checking every few moments. Instead, she watered gently, letting the water soak in slowly. She made sure the seeds had plenty of sunlight. Then she stepped back. Waiting felt uncomfortable. Waiting felt like doing nothing. But Mella stayed still. "I'm helping," she whispered to herself, "just differently." Below the soil, the underground builders smiled and got back to work. Time passed. Nothing happened. Mella sat on a nearby stone and swung her feet. "This might be the slowest thing I've ever done," she said. She resisted the urge to shout encouragement. She resisted the urge to poke the soil. Instead, she watched the sun move across the sky. She noticed how the soil stayed damp beneath the surface. She listened to the quiet sounds of the garden. Below the ground, roots stretched farther. Water traveled deeper. The seeds grew stronger. "Yes," the underground builders murmured. "This is exactly how growing works." The next morning, Mella hurried back to the garden. She knelt carefully, afraid to breathe too loudly. And then she saw it. A tiny green sprout had pushed its way through the soil, standing tall and proud despite its size. Mella gasped and clapped her hands over her mouth. "It worked," she whispered. "It really worked." The worm peeked out of the ground, smiling. "We told you," it said. "Roots did their job." Mella beamed, "And all I had to do was wait." Mella knelt beside the soil again, this time with a different feeling in her heart. "Thank you," she said softly. "Thank you for working so hard." The beetle tipped an imaginary hat. The worm bowed. "You trusted us," the worm said. "You didn't rush the process." Mella nodded. "I didn't know waiting could be helpful," she admitted. "But now I do." The soil felt warm and alive beneath her hands. Over the next few days, more sprouts appeared. Leaves unfolded slowly. Stems stretched taller each morning. Below the ground, roots grew thicker and stronger. Mella watched without worry now. She watered when the soil was dry. She waited when it wasn't. She let the sun and time do their work. The garden responded in its own steady way. Growing, Mella realized, wasn't about speed. It was about balance. Mella looked across the garden. filled with tiny plants reaching upward and strong roots growing downward. I think I understand now, she said. Plants don't need shouting, she continued thoughtfully. They need water, sunlight, air, soil, and time. The worm nodded. Exactly. Mella smiled. Just because I can't see growth, she said, doesn't mean it isn't happening. And beneath the soil, the underground builders kept working. Quietly, patiently, and right on time. Plants grow best when they have soil to hold them steady, water to wake them up, sunlight to give them energy, air to breathe, time to grow. And sometimes, the most important growth is the kind you can't see yet.